Okay, let me check this real quick. And let's do this. Okay, if you are watching this, welcome. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through every pose that I've been doing basically this sequence for the past year in my yoga classes. I have been keeping the work simple. I have been focusing on poses that create length in your lower back, that create length through your entire body, specifically places like your side body, your lats, reaching up over our crown. We've been focusing on keeping our torso and our core nice and stable and tall. And from there, we've been focusing on our legs. And with the legs, basically the way the work starts is it starts with your feet and then it works into your legs and then it works through your upper body. But we have to start by warming up. So step one is to warm up. So it is super important in my class to, well, in anyone's class, is to warm up. One thing I appreciate are all of the yoga teachers that I got to learn from. They taught the importance of following a class in the proper order and treating their students with respect. So what's awesome is learning from respectful, good people has allowed me to teach in a respectful manner, because this work is dealing with people's body, and when you're telling people what to do, we can't let that take over the fact that we don't know exactly what's going on within their body. So we don't know if they've dealt with an injury, we don't know if they've dealt what they're dealing with. So it's really important to proceed mindfully when you're dealing with individuals, especially with their physicality and their movements. So when I say warm up, really that's like the main goal when I start a class, is how do we create an environment in our breathing, in our way of showing up, that basically sets the tone for how warmed up are we going to be. Because again, I started yoga because I was dealing with lower back pain and I was dealing with sciatica, and all of that stuff was just stemmed from tight hamstrings, tight thighs, weak core, and really just not staying physically active and being, not just physically active, but this is gonna be a long live. I might be here till this place closes. Just having diversity in the way I was physically active. And okay, bottom line, I wasn't physically active. Anyways, warming up. The class starts, my class basically always starts these days, starts on the back, on our backs. So start on our back. So when we start on our back, the reason for starting on your back, again, because we are dealing with lower back pain, we got to start slow. We got to start on our backs for a reason. The other place a lot of yoga class start in is child's pose, and there's nothing wrong with starting in child's pose. But if I do start my class in child's pose, I always give people the option, because a lot of people aren't warmed up, and it's really important in the pelvic floor to stretch it when it's warmed up. So with your knees together, feet together, you're not going to be putting as much of a stretch on your pelvic floor. So if I do start a class in child's pose, I'm letting people know you can start with your knees together if you have lower back pain, because you'll notice with your feet together, knees together, you won't have that same amount of work in your pelvic floor that you would if you had your knees out wide. And again, if you have tight thighs, tight hamstrings, tight legs, I definitely recommend if your class ever starts in child's pose, if you're a student and you're attending a class and it starts in child's pose, start with your knees together if you have lower back pain. It will allow you to begin your practice a lot more thoroughly in the warm-up portion of class. So if we're starting on our backs, it allows us to just start in a really neutral place for our lower back because we're not really putting as much effort into it compared to in child's pose. So when we start on our backs, you have a lot more freedom what to do. You can have your legs down long. You can have your feet pressing into the floor. You can have your feet pressing into the floor with your knees knocked together. You can do Supta Baddha, which would be comparable to really beginning with that pelvic floor stretching. So it's really up to you. But what I like about starting on our backs is it's just a little bit more welcoming. I mean, child's pose is great, but I don't know. Starting on our backs, there's something about it. You can have a block underneath the back of your head. You can have your feet wherever you need them to be. And I don't know, it's just a good place to begin. It's a good place to set that intention for class. And usually my intention at that time is to just get my body to understand that I'm here, I'm warming up, and I'm ready to get some work done. So starting on our backs, boom. What I like to do from starting on our backs, if people take whatever pose they take, the next thing I like to do is, I call it bridge pose. All right, this big bridge. All right, so bridge pose, I call it, I didn't write it down, but I call it baby bridge because again, we're warming up. So I call it baby bridge because it's just got to be a little bit of a bridge pose. So this is a really good time to begin thinking about tailbone tucks because we want to start with subtle movements. So if you know about tailbone tucks, they are kind of awkward to figure out at first, but I'll show you with my hand. You begin, if you want to do tailbone tucks, if you want to do baby bridge, I like to offer both. So when you take an inhale, your lower back is flat on your mat, and then when you take an exhale, you push your tailbone forward and then maybe lift your glutes up. So I compared this to bridge pose. I like to offer both of them at the same time because they kind of work in the same way. They work in the same way where they're subtle movements and they allow you to begin engaging your thighs, your hamstrings, your pelvic floor in a way that is more manageable because you can make the movements as large or as small as you want. So the way that looks is you have the tailbone tucks and then bridge pose. You have the opportunity in bridge to bring your shoulders underneath you, your feet pressing down into the floor, and then we're just taking an inhale, lifting our hip points lightly. We're still pressing down through our shoulders, pressing down through our feet, lifting through our hip points. And what we want to do here is just find some nice light movements. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lowering down. I also like to mention to the students that if they want to stay lifted, they can stay lifted. If they want to lower down and move with their breath, they can do that. So, what I want to write down is what we have to do in bridge is bridge. We press down through our feet. Down through our shoulder blades. I don't even know if you guys can read this. I hope you can. And light on the back of our head. That's a lot of words. You don't want to press down on the back of your head. You want to press down through your shoulders, down through your feet, and when you lift your hip points up, you go back to that idea of pressing down through your shoulders, down through your feet. That is your base. Really, every single thing that we do in yoga, whatever is touching your mat, that is the second thing you have to think about. The first thing is your breath. Breathe, press down through whatever is making contact with your mat, and then whatever you're doing with the rest of your body, it basically is a lift, usually. So in this situation, we're lifting into bridge. Okay, bridge is super important. Can't tell because I just spent probably 10 minutes talking about it. Okay, now we move into a knee to elbow variation. So for knees to elbows, we use the block. And this again, we just warmed up, we're warming up the hamstrings, we're warming up the legs. Now we're gonna warm up in the front part of our thighs, our core, everything at this point. Now we're moving into everything. So it's knees to elbow. With block. So it's knee to elbow with the block. How that looks is we are still on our backs. After bridge pose, you know, we can draw our knees in towards our chest. So I usually let people find bridge, hold it, breathe, bring their hips back down, draw their knees into their chest, and we're still moving nice and slow. So we're not really pulling at our kneecaps, pulling them into our chest. We're just holding our kneecaps right here, and we're finding that stretch through our glutes, through our hamstrings, and we also maybe tuck our chin towards our chest. We're just continuing to find that body awareness, where our body is, and starting on our backs is the best place. We take the block, and we're squeezing the block, and again, our intentions aren't to really work the body. Our intentions are to just warm the body up. So we don't need to really cram down on this block. We just need to press our knee and our elbow into it. If you feel that press, you're exactly where you need to be. You don't need to overdo it because again, we're warming up. So when we take our inhale, we lengthen through the left leg. We're flexing our left toes towards our left shin, reaching up over our crown, lengthening through our left side, and then we exhale, bring our left knee towards our left elbow. We flex both sets of our toes towards our shins. We're squeezing the block on the right side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, elbow to knee. So I work through about 4 or 5 of those. And the back of your head is resting on the mat. You're making those movements. Something to keep in mind, because we do come back to these, but subtly, when you take your inhale, you recommit to squeezing the block. And then you exhale, bring your elbow to knee. And then squeeze that block again. Inhale, reach, squeeze the block, elbow to knee. So it's not necessarily that you're squeezing the block even more and even more every time. That's not what we're doing. All we're doing is setting that intention. Squeeze the block, inhale, reach, squeeze the block, exhale, elbow to knee. And it really creates a lot of good action, heat building through our core, through our thighs, through our entire body, because I'm warm right now from just doing that. So we reach and we exhale, elbow to knee. Okay. Okay. So, we just did bridge, knees to elbows. After the knees to elbows, we're drawing our knees in towards our chest. That is a really good one. So between the bridge and after the bridge, after the block, knee to elbow, drawing our knees in towards our chest is a really good option. It allows us to kind of lighten up on the core for a moment, keep those hamstrings engaged by continuing to have that stretch in our hamstrings. And the more opportunities we have to draw our knees in towards our chest, the more we'll warm up through those parts of our body. All right. Now, we're going to tabletop. And we do a few things here. So we go to tabletop. From our backs, you have the option, maybe find some rocks and rolls to tabletop, or you just sit up and make your way there. And when you get there, the first things I like to keep in mind is, even though we're still not doing a ton of work, it's still important to keep in mind that eventually we're going to be doing a lot of work. Our entire body is going to be engaged. Our entire body is going to be kind of in shock because it's being challenged so much, especially if you are breathing in and out through your nose the entire time. It makes the work pretty challenging. So what's really important is, even when we're in bridge pose, even when we're doing the knees to elbows, yes, we're keeping the work light through our body, but in our mind, we're preparing, we're telling ourselves, we're warming up, we're getting ready, we're about to get some really good work done. And a lot of that work that I'm describing comes from when you're standing up, when you're on the single leg variations and all that good stuff. So tabletop, the first thing I do, because I know we're really close to getting into downward facing dog. And the moment you find downward facing dog, especially if you're new to yoga, let me make sure this is going. Sarah, that's very nice of you. Okay, we are live. Cool. All right, back to tabletop. Tabletop. Sarah, that was very nice. Okay, tabletop. Spread wide through your fingertips and claw at the mat. Okay? That's the first thing I think of when I get to tabletop. Other than getting into the right place with my hips over my knees and my shoulders over my wrists and just being in a good neutral spot, I'm not thinking about anything first other than let's get our hands going. Even when we're in knees to elbow, I'm going backwards, but here we go. Knees to elbow. Flex your toes, flexing your toes towards your shins, and even lengthening through your fingertips. We don't want our hands like this, because we need to get our hands ready for down dog, because down dog, for a lot of people, is challenging. And I think the reason why it's challenging for people that just begin practicing yoga is because of the upper body strength. It's shoulder strength, and it's that ability to lengthen through your arms and press down through your hands. But this is the thing. This is where down dog can be almost, it's a real challenge for a lot of us, and it was a challenge for me when I first started. The challenge is yes, upper body strength, but also having that understanding of we're not just pressing down through our hands. And when we just, press down through our hands, what we're really doing is we're just pressing down through right here. And that is not a sustainable way to press down into your hands. It's just not sustainable. You're going to hurt your wrists, and you're going to be dealing with pain basically while you're doing the pose, especially if you hold it for a while. So that's why in tabletop, it's really important to claw at the mat. And again, what that means is spread wide through your fingertips and press down through each individual fingernail. The more you do that in tabletop, the more you will be ready to do that when we get into downward facing dog. So, in tabletop, spread wide through your fingertips, claw at the mat. We're also not necessarily like pressing down through our knees, but we're noticing our knees pressing down into the mat and our thighs going along with it. So it's really just that awareness of our hip points, of our pelvic floor, and that lengthening through our thighs downwards towards our mat, clawing at the mat, and we go into, from tabletop, it's going to be cat-cows. Cat-cows, and really, right away, when I mention cat-cows, and this one is always funny, but the reason why it's funny is because people are always like, what's bear pose? And I say bear pose is any natural movements that feel good to you. So what that means is when we're going through cat-cows are neutral. They're just going cat pose. We're dropping our tailbone down towards the floor. We're clawing at the mat. We're spreading our shoulder blades wide. We're dropping our crown down. And then cow pose, which I really don't do as much as some people would because I just can't. I try to create that like lift, but in my lower back, it's a very subtle cow. So it's I love cat pose though. Cat pose, I exhale. And then cow pose, I lift my gaze and I'm still clawing at the mat. And a lot of other people can create more of a, I don't know, more of a lift through their chest and a drop, more of a stretch in their lower back. But for me, I keep it pretty neutral. I just inhale to here. But yeah, exhale into cow pose, exhale into cat pose. And with that, it's bear pose. So I like to give people the option because the thing is we're doing cat-cows to warm up more. So what's great about bear pose, and I'll show you what bear pose is technically. Bear pose technically is we press down through our feet, press down through our hands, and then we inhale, lift through our knees, and we just hover our knees right above the mat. This is a really good pose to begin class with. It's a really good one. I don't offer it much. I usually offer bear pose as just any natural movements. You can sway side to side. You can lengthen your legs back one after another. In fact, what I love about doing cat-cows, where you can do bear pose as well. So my point is, what I like to do is cat-cows right away, and then right after I mention the cat-cows, I like to say you can go into bear pose because I want to give people the opportunity, especially at the beginning of class, to really move intuitively and breathe through their entire body. And I think that the best way to do that is to allow people to move with some freedom. And what I was going to say, what I love about this portion of class, because my class starts on our backs and we don't get the child's pose, this is the best time to find child's pose if you want to before we start going into the standing work. So it's cat-cows, it's bear pose, it's bear pose, it's child's pose. It's anything. So, oh, and this is another thing I'll mention right now, which I usually mention in words. And this is another thing. My class doesn't start in child's pose. So when we start on our backs, or wherever we're at in the beginning of class, usually on our back, I like to let people know, of course, to keep their practice safe, make sure they listen to their breathing first, and then move into the poses from there. Anything I say, I don't expect people to do right away. I expect the way I think that is a more productive way to go into the work is to listen to what the teacher says, and then listen to your breath, and then move into the pose. Because when you listen to the teacher, you should go back to listening to your breath, and then I think we step into the pose a little bit more efficiently when we do that. So, and that just adds to the whole practice of really doing the work that you find suitable for you that day. And what's great about a yoga class is we're just offered one thing after another, after another, after another. And if you're showing up feeling good, you're going to get a lot of work done in 1 hour. So we do this, bear pose, okay. And then before we go anywhere else, we do all this good stuff. And then, who knows what's next? Any guesses out there? All right. This is actually one that I wasn't doing for a little while, but it's a good one. So we're back to doing it. Bird dog. I like bird dog because I keep the class pretty simple, and it's just one more opportunity to get your glutes going, get your lower back going, get your arms moving, lengthening through your side body, lengthening through your thighs, engaging through your entire body, your core, before we step into the work where we're standing on both feet and doing all that same stuff with the lifting and the reaching and the lengthening. So, bird dog is in tabletop. It's similar to that work we did with the block, but it's a little different because we're on tabletop now. So we can start with our left leg going back. We flex our left toes towards our left shin. Before we go anywhere though, we're spreading wide through our fingertips and we're clawing at the mat. Because again, it is so important to claw at the mat. I cannot stress it enough. I say it, I honestly get annoyed by myself in class how many times I say claw at the mat. I say to myself, Anthony, can you stop saying that? And I think to myself, right after I say that to myself, no, you have to say it. That's why I'm there. I'm there to tell people or let people know options through the yoga class, such as it's really important to claw at the mat, because we do a lot of work on our hands, like downward facing dog, like plank pose. So if we're going to keep doing this work and we don't want to mess up our wrists, we have to claw at the mat. So even in tabletop, we focus on that. So we press down through all our fingertips, we claw at the mat through that left hand, our left leg goes back, our right arm reaches forward. If you're new to bird dog, keep your hands down on the mat, claw at the mat through both hands, and just do the leg. Left leg goes back, flexing your left toes towards your left shin. On an inhale, and then exhale, bring your left knee towards your chest. And we're keeping our core engaged, we're keeping our torso stable, we're keeping that right thigh stable. We're keeping our upper body through our shoulders stable by clawing at the mat. We're tucking our chin towards our chest. We're not scrunching our neck. We're flexing our left toes towards our left shin. And we are adding the arm reaching forward. We're doing all of that same stuff. We're just including a little bit more balance because we're inhale reaching, exhale elbow to knee. Inhale reach. See my fingertips? See how they're, well, I don't know if you can see them, but I'm like this with them. I'm not like this. Because again, this doesn't engage the hand when it's like all just not bam. Because we need to keep that hand stretching, because we're stretching through the entire body, because we are breathing through the entire body. This is a mindful practice. Okay. Next. Yeah, that's bird dog. So we do bird dog. And then what I like to let people know is go through both sides and then I let them make their way to downward facing dog in a way that suits them. And what I mean by that is as they're going through bird dog, I mention, now, as you go through bird dog, make your way to tabletop. Maybe find some cat-cows, bear pose, maybe child's pose, and then make your way Make your way, make your way. Oh yeah. Make your way. To downward facing dog. Downward. Downward dog. Downward, it's downward facing. Downward facing dog. This is where our body is way more engaged and way more engaged, getting warmed up than it was in any other pose. So it's clawing at the mat and we're in tabletop. And then we're pressed, at this point, we're taking our feet back a little ways. And just like our hands, just like how we claw at the mat through our hands, we're pressing down through the ball mounds of both feet. And then we're sending our hamstrings back. Our tailbone goes up and our chest drops down towards our toes. So just like all of the other poses, we step into downward facing dog. Nice and slow, nice and light. So we begin by clawing at the mat, pressing down through the ball mounds of both feet, hamstrings go back, tailbone goes up, and so this is basically, this is how I talk through downward facing dog. Is I claw at the mat, I press down through the ball mounds of both feet, I send my hamstrings back, my tailbone goes up, and as you can see, as I take those movements through my hamstrings going back, tailbone going up, my chest is dropping towards my toes, and I'm creating that stretch through my upper back. So notice, as I send my hamstrings back, tailbone up, my chest is dropping towards my toes. I am still clawing at the mat through each individual fingernail. The more you do that, the less weight you will be carrying on that palm section, that base of your wrist. So, when you're here, you can sway side to side. Maybe you want to do some stuff, stretching your legs. Downward facing dog, and we breathe. So we're here, we're making those micro movements, clawing at the mat, pressing down through the ball mounds of our feet, taking our hamstrings back, tailbone up, chest dropping towards our toes, and our gaze is towards our toes, towards our knees, maybe towards our belly button. And as we're doing that, again, we are pressing down through our pinky, through our ring finger, through our pointer finger, through our middle finger, through our thumb, through all of them. And we breathe. Okay. I just talked about that a lot because I need to stretch a little bit today. I haven't done anything, no yoga today, so this is my yoga. All right. Downward facing dog. Yeah, we're moving on. So we know about downward facing dog. We know about the way to work through those cues. And we come to downward facing dog a lot. So at this point, I think what would be good is to talk about something we do often in a yoga class. Okay, after downward facing dog, this is where we should talk about forward fold, because we go from down dog to forward fold to extended mountain we go from down dog to forward fold to extended mountain many, many times. So basically at this point we went through tabletop, we went through the bird dogs, we got to downward facing dog. Now we're going through sun A's, sun salutation A's. And that is down dog, from down dog, we inhale, look forward, exhale, travel to the top of your mat for a forward fold. I like to find a slight bend in my knees in my forward fold. So I'm pressing down through my feet, I'm sending my hamstrings back, and I'm dropping my crown down towards the floor in this forward fold. Little things that I like to do is I like to press, these are little things. I don't do them all the time, but sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling, right now I'm in this forward fold with my slight bend in my knees. I'm pressing my triceps into my kneecaps. It's just one of those random things that I like to do in my forward fold. I think what it does, and I'm noticing what it does right now, is it's taking the work out of my lower back and it's adding to the work in my hamstrings and my glutes. With this slight bend in my knees, sending my hamstrings back in space, pressing down through my feet, I'm noticing the work more so in my hamstrings and in my glutes than I do in my lower back, and that's where you want the work in your forward fold, is in your hamstrings and in your glutes. You don't want your lower back overextending, and the way you get that is, for example, with your feet together, your knees locked out, and we're just draping over. Yeah, this can feel good, but it can add a lot of extra effort to our lower back. Okay, so it's down dog, forward fold, extended mountains. And we do that a couple of times. Okay, and the way this works so while we're doing that, we go inhale, extended mountain, exhale, forward fold, halfway lift. So halfway lift, we gotta talk about halfway lift. It was down dog, extended mountain, forward folds, and halfway lift. So halfway lift is from a forward fold. And I'm going to talk about this right now. So with halfway lift, one thing that I will mention is when we're in this forward fold, we inhale into a halfway lift. So I'm pressing my hands into my shins. I'm not looking forward. I'm tucking my chin towards my chest, and I'm lengthening through my spine. I'm sending my glutes back in space. I'm reaching forward through my crown, and I'm pressing my hands into my shins. We do a lot of halfway lifts through class. And what I want to mention is, if there's ever a time when you're in your forward fold and you're in your class, the teacher says inhale, halfway lift. The next place you're going is exhale, chaturanga, which is high to low plank, either down to your belly or not down to your belly. And then for your back bend, and then exhale, downward facing dog. So every time you hear chaturanga, you're making your way to downward facing dog. So my point to that is, if you're in a forward fold, and this is what works for me, it might not work for you, but if you're in this forward fold, and yeah, most of the time I'm inhaling into that halfway lift, but sometimes class gets really tough, really challenging, and it's like, I don't even feel like doing the halfway lift. I feel like just staying in the forward fold. You can do that. So you're in the forward fold. The teacher says inhale, halfway lift. Just don't do it. Just stay in your forward fold. If you need to stay here, if you're not looking to do any halfway lift at that moment, they say inhale, halfway lift. From your forward fold, you're just there. Exhale, chaturanga, high to low plank, and you're just right where class is, even if you skipped that halfway lift. So in these Sun A's, this is where we're also in downward facing dog, inhaling our leg back and up. So our right leg goes back and up into three dog. So let's talk about three dog. Halfway lift. So once we get through this section, we'll be going into more pose after pose after pose, because this is where we're basically doing the same thing, but we're going into three dog. All right, so we're going into three dog, low lunge, and half splits. So it's three dog, low lunge, half splits within the Sun A's. So we're in extended mountain. We inhale, forward fold, halfway lift, chaturanga, high to low plank, make our way. And then, let me finish that part. So it's high to low plank. And then in the beginning of class at this point, I'm cueing us to go down to our belly. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. We're clawing at the mat. We're pressing down to the ball mount of that left foot. We're keeping our right toes pointing down, and we're flexing our right toes towards our right shin, driving that right heel back and up. Exhale, step through, low lunge. So in low lunge, I like to come to reaching up. If you have your hands to heart center, that is perfect. You can even have your arms down by your side. But what I like to explain in low lunge is it doesn't need to be like this extreme stretch into that low lunge. It can be right here. Because again, we're just starting class. I know I've been talking for like basically 40 minutes now, and we're still in the very beginning of class because there's a lot to talk about. So press down through that left thigh. See how I'm kind of just going upwards. I'm not really trying to stretch forwards. If you want to do that, you can do that. But this class, again, we're designing it to warm up really thoroughly. We want to warm up really thoroughly. So when we find that press down, we find that lift up, and then we're exhaling into half splits. So we can either reach our arms back, or we can bring our hands down towards the floor, and we're reaching our chest forward and down over that right leg. So this is half splits. We inhale back into our low lunge. Exhale, forward fold, top of your mat, halfway lift, forward fold, extended mountain, forward fold, halfway lift, chaturanga, make your way to downward facing dog. And then we do the other side. And then what I do differently for the next round is we inhale, low lunge, exhale, half splits, inhale, low lunge. This time we don't go to forward fold, we exhale, chaturanga. So we go inhale, low lunge, and this is describing the second round of low lunge to half splits. And what I also do differently is it's breath to movement. We don't hang out in one spot or the other. Now we're figuring out our breath to movement through our low lunge to half splits. So it's inhale, low lunge, exhale, half splits, inhale, low lunge, exhale, chaturanga, inhale, back bend. I kind of screwed that one up. Should be going down to my belly. Inhale, back bend, exhale, down dog. Okay, so that's sun A's, half splits. Yeah, that's everything. How are we doing? Okay, now we're moving into sun B's. So the difference between sun A's and sun B's is we're not going into extended mountain, we're going into chair pose. Instead of extended mountain, we're going into chair pose. Exhale, forward fold, halfway lift, chaturanga. At this point, if you feel ready to have your thighs lifted for up dog, exhale, down dog, and we step through with our right foot. Inhale, warrior one. Okay, so we go chair pose, and then we go through chaturanga, and then we do warrior ones. Warrior ones. And with the warrior ones, depending on the day, depending on the class, depending on how we're moving, it decides how many warrior ones, how many chair poses we do to start class. So it's chair pose, warrior ones, and then to start, we skip 3 dog. So we skipped 3 dog. The reason for that is because when we skip 3 dog, stepping into warrior one, it really challenges our breathing, because the difference between 3 dog and not doing 3 dog, the difference is the way you breathe and the way it works your core. So when we inhale into our back bend, we exhale into down dog. If we're skipping 3 dog, we exhale into down dog, We keep exhaling, and you're gonna find yourself squeezing out that last bit of air. You step through, first with your right foot, press down through both feet, and then we inhale, lift up into warrior one. And then we exhale, chaturanga. Inhale into your back bend, exhale, down dog. As you exhale, your left foot steps through, press down through both feet, inhale, rise up, warrior one. So that's really how that looks. So I'll show it to you. When we're in down dog, inhale, look forward, bending at your knees. Exhale, travel forward, top of our mat, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. And then this is up to, there's two ways to go about it. We go into chair pose, and then you can exhale, forward fold. Or you can inhale, chair pose, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Keep exhaling. Your right foot steps through. Warrior one, rise up, inhale. Exhale, chaturanga, high to low plank. I'm flexing my right toes towards my right shin. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Left foot steps through. Warrior one, rise up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, look forward. Top of your mat, forward fold. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, chaturanga, and then you go through the warrior ones again, skipping three dog. Okay, so we skip three dog, three warrior ones. At first, when we're going through our warrior ones, we're not staying in warrior one because we just started doing warrior ones. So if we just started doing them, we need to, I call it just barely, like just touch the pose. So the moment you find yourself complete, exhale into your chaturanga. So it's all breath to movement to begin for our warrior one. So what that means is just like I showed you, it's inhale warrior one, exhale chaturanga, inhale back bend, exhale down dog, the left foot steps through, press down, lift up, inhale warrior one, exhale chaturanga, back bend, down dog, exhale, inhale, look forward, exhale, travel to the top of your mat, forward fold, halfway lift, inhale, forward fold, exhale, chair pose, inhale. I like to go, I think it feels really good to inhale, chair pose, exhale, chaturanga. Or you can exhale into forward fold, halfway lift, chaturanga. There's so many different ways to go about it. Not so many different ways, but there are different ways to go about it. Not one way is right. And that's what's great about this. That adds to the aspect of students, like us as, yes, I teach yoga, but even when I take a class as a student, I'm thinking about how can I do this work the best way for me. And that's why sometimes in a forward fold, I'll skip the halfway lift. And when the teacher says chaturanga, I'll just exhale into high to low plank from forward folds because that works for me at that moment. Not saying I'll skip all the halfway lifts, but I will change it up depending on how I'm feeling at that moment. So that's super important. I can't stress how important it is for you to move really kind of intuitively through your practice and listen to your body and be with your body and be with your breathing and lock that down. All right, so it's warrior ones, skipping three dog, and then the last set, so we talked about how we do warrior ones, breath to movement, and then the last one, we do down dog. So we get to warrior one, and we get to warrior one, and then we're doing three dog, and then when we do three dog, we're going back to, this time we go to three dog, let's take our left leg up,
We start in three dog, pointing our left toes down, flexing our toes towards our shin, and then I also give the option to open your hips. My left knee is lifted, so I'm opening my hips to the left. You can take those hip circles in one direction. Take them in the other. Three dog. And then we step through into warrior one. This time we're staying in warrior one.
I need to take a break. Okay. And then after I take a break and sip a little bit of water, we'll talk about warrior one. Okay, so in warrior one, what we're doing is, let's say our right foot is forward, our right foot is pointing directly forward, and we're lunging into that left knee. We're reaching up through our arms. I'm going to switch sides. So our right leg is back, our left foot is forward. We're lunging into that left knee. We're lengthening back through that right leg, pressing down through that right foot, reaching up, opening our left knee towards our left pinky toe, pressing down through both feet. So basically this is warrior one. We're reaching up through our arms. If this is your warrior one, that's okay too. You can even have your arms down by your side. You can work your way through it, but this is warrior one. When we reach up, our palms are facing each other. We're not here with our arms. Look at my fingertips too. I'm reaching up through my fingertips. And we open our left knee towards our left pinky toe. We square our shoulders to the front of the room. And we're on a 45-degree angle through that right foot. So sometimes we'll have our foot like this. You can see it more like a 90-degree angle. What we want to do is find a 45-degree angle. And that way we find that real length through our thigh. And what we're doing is, to find that 45-degree angle, what I like to mention is we press down through the ball mound of that right foot and we drive that right heel back in space. And then we can find that 45-degree angle on that right foot, pressing down through that right foot, reaching up. That's warrior one. Okay. Chair pose, warrior one. And on that last set, we go warrior one. And then it's with three dog. And then warrior two. So we're in warrior one, and then exhale warrior two. So for warrior two, we're doing basically the same thing with our feet. Our left foot is pointing forward in this example. We're opening our left knee over our left pinky toe. So we don't want to collapse that left knee inwards. We want to take that left knee out. And we're keeping that 45-degree angle as much as possible on that right foot. And we're reaching through our arms. We're pressing our fingertips into one another. The reason why we press our fingertips into one another is that it engages our shoulders and our upper body. And we're looking over our left hand. We don't want to go like this. That's kind of exaggerated, but we don't want to like lean forward like this. We want to keep our shoulders over our hips, and we want to find that press down through our feet. So what happens is we just enter this pose, you know, our hands are loose. Maybe we're looking like here, and you know, we're just doing all kinds of funky things. What we want to do is, because ultimately our goal in Warrior 2 is to press down through our feet and find that stability through our feet, and then drop our tailbone down between our legs. So we keep our shoulders over our hips, and then we open that left knee, we're lengthening back through that right thigh. Notice how I'm not leaning forward, but I am dropping down. And I'm pressing down through my feet, and I'm opening that left knee towards my left pinky toe, and I'm pressing down through both feet. From here, we reverse our Warrior 2, so we keep that lunge in our left knee, we reach up through our left arm, so we're lengthening through that left side body. Exhale, extended side angle, so our left elbow goes towards the inside of that left thigh, we reach up through our right arm. This is a pose where it is really important to maintain that stability through both feet pressing down, because the reason it is so important to press down through both feet, because that strong base in extended side angle is really, really important, because we're kind of putting our upper body, especially our lower back, into more of a vulnerable place. So that's why it's really important when you go into extended side angle, have your core engaged, and you're supporting your torso through your core, through your feet pressing down. You'll notice I'm not here, I'm here. Looking up helps me open through my upper back. Breathe. Okay? Okay. Now, we go Warrior 2, reverse Warrior 2, exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your Warrior 2. And then we're going into one of my favorite poses. Half moon. Inhale, reverse your Warrior 2. Exhale, half moon. Stepping into that left foot, taking that right leg back. Okay, so half moon, I like to spend a decent amount of time on. I need to get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, so for half moon, we have a slight bend in that left knee, pressing down through that left foot, and then we open up into half moon. This is where a block is really, really handy to have. So, I don't think we've done anything in class so far that would require a block other than bridge pose if you wanted to put it behind your head when we were on our backs. But other than that, we haven't. Warrior One, you can't really use a block. Unless you want to reach up over your crown with the block in your hands and squeeze the block together, that actually isn't a bad idea. I think sometimes even in certain classes, you'll just hold the blocks in Warrior Two. I don't think that's a bad idea either. So the block is really handy because yeah, it's like not that heavy, but that'll add up the more you do stuff like that. So the blocks are great. Slight bend in your left knee, press down through your left foot, and if you have a block, we take that block and put it onto the floor, and you'll notice I just wobbled. So the reason why half moon can be a little wobbly, and for me it's my left leg isn't as, I wouldn't say my left leg is as stable as my right, but half moon has been a lot of work to get right. And what I mean by get half moon right is I mean, I think I have a lot of time left. What time is it? Oh my god. They close at 10? Oh my goodness, we're not gonna get through all of this. Anyways, half moon. Yeah, we'll see how far we get. So half moon, slight bend in that left knee, and then what happens is that block, naturally we want to put it right in front of that left foot. Where we should be putting it if we're new to half moon and we're working on keeping that left foot pointing directly forward, is taking that block and putting it to the outside of that left foot. That's how we can find half moon, with that standing leg pointing directly forward through that the left foot. So we're pointing forward, we're opening our chest to the right, slight bend in that left knee. This is half moon. This has been a lot of work because again, most of the time, like when I first started half moon, is that left foot was here, it was pointing inward, it was internally rotated, it makes it easier. But once we find that left foot pointing directly forward, that's where we can open into half moon. And it can feel really, really good. We reverse our Warrior Two, inhale, exhale, half moon. And then this time we go into eagle. So one thing I skipped through this sequence that we're talking about is the last set of Warrior Ones. When we find chair pose, we do eagle each side. And then this time we go from half moon to eagle. Right leg over, right arm under, and we're in eagle pose. Breathing here. Eagle pose, really what we're trying to do is we're taking that right now we're taking the right leg over and the right arm under. We try to sit down, lift through our elbows, breathe. Keeping our body nice and neutral in this one leg, single leg posture. And then from here, what we do is we go half moon to eagle. We take an inhale, and then we go, so it's half moon, eagle, Warrior Three. So, eagle, inhale, exhale, Warrior Three. So, Warrior Three,
The right leg goes back, flexing our right toes towards our right shin. We're lengthening back through that right thigh. And we're bringing our body to a T. So with Warrior 3, you have the option to reach back, bring your hands to heart center. I really like doing Warrior 3. You can even bring your hands to a block if you need to. Just taking that right leg back is plenty, but if you could find more, find your arms at your chest, reaching back, maybe reaching forward, palms facing each other. This is a really challenging one though. It adds to the balance. So the reason why it adds to the balance is because we're just kind of more spread out. We're reaching up over our crown. So keeping your core engaged, keeping your body stable is a little bit more challenging like that, but it feels great. Once you get the hang of it, it feels really good. So half moon, eagle, Warrior 3. And then from Warrior 3, we take one more inhale, taking that right leg back, reaching up over our crown. Exhale, standing splits. So in this case, our right leg is going back. We still have a slight bend in our left knee, taking that right leg back, keeping our right toes pointing down, flexing our right toes towards our right shin. Exhale, curtsy squat, right foot down towards your left. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, lower down. I like to offer 3 to 5 rounds. And then we meet in the forward fold. Halfway lift, forward fold, extended mountain, forward fold, halfway lift, chaturanga. And then we do the half moon, eagle, Warrior 3, standing splits. Curtsy squats. On the other side. And then we meet in the forward fold. And that's that section. Now we're going into the extended mountain. Into dancer. Dancer pose. So for dancer pose, we're in extended mountain. Exhale, bring your right hand to your right hip. Bring your right foot up. We're grabbing that right foot from the inside of that right foot. And then you have the option, maybe your left hand is to heart center, maybe that left hand goes down by your side. Wherever that left hand ends up, that's okay. We want to begin kicking that right hand into that right foot into that right hand. We're kicking that right foot into our right hand. We're reaching forward, opening through our chest to the front of the room. Inhaling back into our extended mountain. I moved a little quick there. Try to move slow. Exhale, grab that left foot. Begin going into dancer pose. Back into center. Depending on the way class is moving, we'll do that once or we'll do it twice. Extended mountain, dancer pose, each side, back to extended mountain,
And then after dancer, we do both sides, we make our way back to extended mountain, and then we're doing single leg lifts. So single leg lifts are one of the best single leg variations. It is simple, but it is so challenging to do correctly. And basically what we're doing is we're just lifting one leg up. But what happens is we tend to lean back while we lift that leg. This completely takes all of the work out of the pose. So when we start by pressing down through that right foot, for example. Our hands can start down by our sides. If you feel ready to go, you can reach up. But we're pressing down through that right leg, down through that right thigh, lifting through our left toes. Inhale, lift. And then maintain, pressing down through that right thigh, pressing down, reaching up, keeping our torso over our hips, and we're lifting through that left leg. And we're maybe finding some pulses. A little lift, staying tall, pressing down, lifting, exhale, lower down. And then we do the other side. It's super challenging, but it feels really good on your glutes. Feels really good on your thighs. It feels good on your core through your torso because you're keeping everything stable. It's just an awesome, awesome single leg pose. And really what it does is, it's like I don't know, but it's just a foundation to dancer, to eagle. It's just a good foundation to the single leg fundamentals of stability through that standing leg, because when we lift this leg, to not lean back, we have to set that intention to press down and lift, to press down and lift. And when I say press down, it's through that right thigh. When I say lift, I mean through our torso, maybe even that left leg, but it's just a stability pose to the max. Okay. After the single leg lifts, depending on where we're at, how much time we have, how the class is feeling, we'll do tree pose. Tree pose. I'm just gonna, now, I don't have much time left, so I'm just gonna go through the poses. Tree pose. Press down through that right foot, bring your left foot up. You can bring that left foot in towards that left thigh. You want to avoid your kneecap. You can put it on your calf. You can have it hovering and floating, just hovering and tapping. Your arms can be reaching up. We're doing speed now, speed round yoga. I just want to talk to you about every single pose that we do in this class before the end of this live, because the gym's going to close. So we got to get through this stuff. Because I want you to know everything I do in this class. The one thing you want to avoid is your knee. The toughest version of tree is to have that left foot hovering and lifting. And then if you want to assist yourself and bring that up towards your thigh, you can do that. And we're either at heart center or we're reaching up over our crown. Tree pose. Okay, I'm done with the whiteboard. I'm just going to talk now. So after tree pose, we go into pyramid pose. After pyramid pose, we go into revolved pyramid pose. After revolved pyramid, we go into revolved half moon. After revolved half moon, we
go into our forward fold, halfway lift, plank pose. At this point, I like to offer holding plank or tabletop. And again, depending on class, we'll either just hold that plank for a little while, or we'll do plank or tabletop, bringing our knees towards our elbows just for a little bit of extra core work. We'll hold plank, cloth the mat, exhale, lower down to our bellies, hands under our foreheads. Rock your forehead side to side, and then now we're doing one of the most important poses, and not only one of the most important poses for your lower back, but one of the most important poses to be thoroughly warmed up and prepared for, which is locust pose. So if you have lower back pain, if you're dealing with lower back pain, not only will all of this work help you, but locust pose will help you tremendously. But if you are dealing with sciatica, if you are dealing with that tough pain through your lower back, the only way locust is going to help you is if you are really, really warm and really loose through your muscles because of all that work you've done through class. So you really, again, we start class the way we start, warming up for a reason, so that we can be really productive through the work in the middle of class, ultimately to be prepared for locust pose. And we take locust twice, usually in class, we'll do it twice. From there, depending again how it's going, maybe we'll take scorpion pose, which is a shoulder stretch, and it stretches your shoulders, but also stretches your lower back in a really good way. But if I'm keeping things simple, I'll skip that. From locust, we'll be laying on our bellies, hands under our forehead, and then we'll make our way to child's pose. This is a really good time to find child's pose after that back body work. If you have lower back pain, I recommend keeping your knees together, feet together, and then sitting back into that child's pose. Maybe reaching forward, maybe reaching back. And then from there, after child's pose, we're making our way to, ultimately we're making our way onto our backs. But what I like to offer is from child's pose, make your way to tabletop as slow as you can. And that is a great time. I like to find cat pose, because it is a really nice counter stretch to locust pose. So from locust, you're really doing a lot of work. You're really finding a lot of effort, lifting your thighs away from the floor, lifting your chest away from the floor. It looks simple, but it's a really challenging pose. And then take a moment in child's pose, and then counter stretch that locust with cat pose. That's what I like to do, or bear pose. So let them do whatever feels good. Okay. After that, locust, tabletop, cat pose, child's pose, tabletop, cat pose. Make our way onto our backs. And then after we make our way onto our backs, we're going back into knees to elbows. We're squeezing the block. This time, we're doing it with more effort. We are pressing our knee into our elbow, squeezing the block. We inhale, reach, squeeze the block, exhale, elbow to knee, and then squeeze the block, inhale, reach. So we are constantly reminding ourselves to squeeze that block, get that core going. And it creates a nice stretch in our lower back and in our pelvic floor. So it really promotes a lot of good benefits to the whole pelvic floor region, squeezing that block. And then after we do that, we draw our knees in towards our chest. At that point, I like to offer happy baby. So it's happy baby, or just drawing your knees in towards your chest. And then we're going back into bridge pose. If we have time, I'll work through the bridge pose super slow. We'll start with tailbone tucks. I'll work through a variation of tailbone tucks with the block. And again, next time we do the video, I'll be showing you all this stuff, but I just want to talk to you about all these different poses so I can get you to the end of class, because again, the gym's going to close. So bridge pose, we do our tailbone tucks,
We do our bridge pose. We do any variations of that. Supported bridge is an option. After that, we slowly lower down. We draw our knees in towards our chest. And then we're doing supine twist. So we hover our knees over our hips. We have a 90-degree bend at our knees. Our arms are out to a T. We find our supine twists. After our supine twist, we draw our knees in towards our chest. We find Supta Baddha Konasana. And then we make our way to Savasana, and we're done. So that's the class. That is the class that I have been teaching for the past year. That is the class that I developed from learning from a lot of different yoga teachers. So I learned by going to class, by going to a teacher training. But really, the reason why I have pieced this together the way I did, I think just comes down to what did I find the most value in from all of the different teachers that I've taken a class from. So the best feeling classes that I took, the ones that gave me the most relief, were the ones that almost always had locust pose in it. And it was always at the end. I've never done locust pose at the beginning of class. It's always been at the end, and it's always been really helpful. So that's one pose. Basically, I look at it like this, and I think I already kind of explained this, but I love all of that work because it prepares me for the most efficient, safe locust pose. That is the one, and then bridge pose. Locust and bridge, after all of that leg work, after all that full body work, just does wonders for your lower back. And for, yeah, it just makes you feel really good. But yeah, that's the class. And I hope you learned something new. I hope you caught, and again, next time I'll get here earlier and I'll talk about the whole class again. And if you're here next time, awesome. And that's it, guys. Have a nice evening. Maybe it's the morning. Have a nice morning. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.